There comes a moment in every man's journey of retention when the light disappears. It's a silence so profound it feels like a cosmic joke, a cruel twist after months spent building discipline. The regimen that once felt like a superpower, empowering, vibrant, and clear begins to feel chillingly hollow. It is the moment when the outer strength, built by abstinence, is stripped away, revealing the tender, terrified core beneath. This is not a phase of mild discouragement. It is the dark night of the soul, a spiritual and psychological cataclysm. Before we dive into the secrets of semen retention power, make sure you subscribe now and join our Telegram family. The link's in the description. Don't miss the exclusive insights and daily motivation that will keep your energy, focus, and discipline unstoppable. Your success journey starts today. The ego's collapse and the heavy breath. The initial signs are subtle, creeping in during the quiet hours. The mind, your most trusted ally, suddenly turns against itself, a traitor within the gates. Every breath feels heavy, not just physically, but with the suffocating weight of existential doubt. Every silence, which you once sought for peace, feels hostile, echoing the unasked questions of your life. This descent doesn't announce itself with fire or glory. It begins in the small, deep ache that has no shape, a formless grief for the self that is dying. The former self, the one built on the shaky foundations of pleasure, validation, and escape, is being starved. And it fights for survival with every trick in the subconscious playbook. The discipline that gave you control now feels like a prison. You feel the grotesque sensation of decaying in your own discipline. A bitter paradox where the practice meant to elevate you seems to be burying you alive. This feeling of regression, of things getting inexplicably worse, is the truth of transformation. Before the spirit can rise, it must first descend. Every man who walks this path of stored energy eventually reaches this inescapable valley. It is here, in the cold, damp earth, that you begin to lose connection first with others, then with your own former trajectory, the whispers of the old self. The world moves on with its noise and its distractions, but you are seated in a strange emptiness. The mind, desperate to regain its comforting illusions, begins to whisper insidious lies. It tells you that you are wasting your youth, that this silence is not progress, but a slow, self-imposed death. These whispers are not a sign of weakness. They are the desperate, dying breaths of your former self. That version of you lived by drowning pain in pleasure, seeking constant external validation, and prioritizing escape over confrontation. That self is being suffocated by the very energy you are holding, and it will not die easily. The true test of retention is not merely physical abstinence, it is psychological death. The accumulated energy acts as a magnifying glass, stripping away everything you thought made you strong. The surface-level confidence, the newfound focus, the fragile peace-all are suddenly gone. You realize, with a crushing clarity, how much of your early progress was subtly built on ego. You thought you were rising above weakness, but in reality, you were constructing a new, spiritualized identity, one that still feared the void. The dark night takes that new, false identity and burns it to ash. The necessary descent and purification, you are left alone. In the cold silence, facing your raw, unprotected consciousness. It hurts precisely because there is nowhere left to run. This descent is not an accident. It is necessary. The energy you are holding is not just a physical resource. It is a mirror, and when it is not wasted, it begins the painful process of purification. It acts like a spiritual vacuum, dragging every unresolved emotion to the surface. Fear, guilt, loneliness, anger. Retention does not create these feelings. It violently exposes them. It has taken away the distractions, the numbing agents that kept you functional, forcing you to feel decades of suppressed pain with no immediate escape valve. It can feel like madness because you are facing a tidal wave of unaddressed history. The body becomes heavy, the soul restless. Motivation evaporates. The same meditation that once centered you now feels pointless. A relapse, in this stage, often occurs not out of simple weakness, but out of a desperate, primal need to feel something, again anything, other than the paralyzing emptiness. Do not hate yourself for it. This is where most men quit. They lack not strength, but interpretation. They believe the darkness is regression, when in truth, it is the fire of purification. Everything fake dies. In the dark night, everything built on falseness dies. Goals driven by ego crumble. Fantasies lose their hold. Even your nascent spiritual pride is shattered. The only thing that remains is what is real. Your pure, raw, unfiltered awareness. It is the sensation of being stripped naked before the universe. It is terrifying because the human mind is an addict to illusion, and retention violently snatches that illusion away. It forces you to confront the raw truth that you were never in control, you were merely distracted. Men chase retention, thinking it will make them feel more powerful, And it doesn't, first. But the deeper truth is that it makes you feel powerless before it grants true power. It is a process designed to break your ego until you realize that genuine strength is surrender. You stop trying to dominate life and start allowing the cosmic flow to move through you. The dark night is not a punishment. It is the collapse of the false self that kept you asleep and small. Sacred loneliness and the alchemical negrita. The loneliness you feel during this time is sacred. It is not isolation, it is initiation. You are being separated from the noisy consensus of the world so that you may begin to see it clearly. Your relationships may suddenly feel distant. Your friends' energies may no longer align with yours. Your old desires vanish. You begin to realize how little of your life was built on authenticity. The things you used to crave, validation, attention, and fleeting pleasure now feel like poison. That profound emptiness is the detoxification process. You are being cleansed from the inside out. The ancient alchemists called this stage the Negredo, or the black stage. It represents the putrefaction of the old material. Everything must rot and decompose before it can be reborn as gold. The decay you feel is not a sign of failure. It is the beginning of creation. The darkness is not your enemy. It is your womb. You must learn to endure it. You must sit in the silence without reaching for an escape. Because the moment you stop resisting, something shifts. You begin to sense that underneath the pain is peace, and underneath the chaos is a nascent clarity. The storm isn't destroying you. It is clearing what doesn't belong. The divine surgery. When the darkness stops feeling personal, you realize you weren't losing your mind. You were losing everything that kept you asleep. Your energy becomes calmer, heavier, more grounded. You stop craving external validation and begin to value silence over stimulation. The Dark Knight's lesson is simple and brutal. You cannot become divine without dying as human. The descent is into the underworld of your own subconscious. Retention is like digging a tunnel into your psyche. The further you go, the darker it gets. Many quit when the light fades, mistaking this necessary descent for a failure to maintain the surface high. The pain you feel is spiritual, not physical. Your old identity is dissolving in slow motion. Your desires lose their meaning. The people around you seem distant, as if you've stepped out of their timeline. This disconnection is the evidence that your vibration is changing. Retention increases inner energy, but this energy cannot rise without friction. Every unresolved emotion acts as a blockage that must be burned away. Carl Jung called this individuation, the death of the persona and the birth of the true self. The persona is the mask you built to survive, the people-pleasing, the pretending. Retention amplifies what is underneath that mask. The more energy you store, the more truth it reveals. That is why some men become anxious or aggressive. The raw power has no healthy outlet yet. It is forcing them to confront the internal chaos they have ignored. The war within, death versus rebirth. You are torn between two worlds. One part of you still desperately craves the old comforts, the distractions, the familiar pleasures. The other part yearns for transcendence, mastery, and unvarnished truth. The war between these two selves is the essence of the Dark Night. It is not a battle of good versus evil. It is death versus rebirth. You are being asked to sacrifice the comfort of the old self for the clarity of the new. And that sacrifice feels precisely like dying. The hollowness, the feeling of watching life through glass, is the paradox of this stage. It is silence that feels like death, yet it is the only silence that can give birth to truth. As your energy rises, it purges the false self. Your attachments to people, status, and even the idea of spirituality begin to dissolve. You question your purpose and the meaning of life. This is not nihilism, it is purification. When the false meaning collapses, real meaning is given the space to form. The mind hates stillness because stillness reveals what the mind is hiding. When you stop feeding your urges, the mind has nothing to hide behind. It attacks you with shame, doubt, and guilt. Not to destroy you, but to protect the ego's identity, which survives through control. The detox symptoms of the soul retention removes the ego's control, giving energy back to your soul, and the ego interprets this as its own imminent death. This is why you feel anxiety without reason, fear without cause, and despair without logic. Do not panic. These are the detox symptoms of the soul. You are not broken, you are being emptied. You are shedding the energies that never belonged to you, the expectations of society, the pain of your lineage, the survival masks you wore. This is why the Dark Night is sacred. It is not depression, it is divine surgery. The point where everything feels unbearable is the point where most men relapse. They confuse the intensity with failure. But the truth is that the stored energy is doing exactly what it is meant to do, burning through layers of illusion. If you can endure that pressure without trying to escape, the mind begins to surrender. The energy rises. The fire, which was once your torment, becomes your foundation. the quiet fire and the gift of awareness. The texture of silence changes. It stops feeling empty and starts feeling alive. You begin to sense a presence in everything, in your breath, in the wind, in the stillness. You realize that what you have been searching for was not pleasure or achievement, but awareness, pure awareness, untouched by fear or desire. That is the gift hidden inside the dark night. To reach this stage, you must lose everything that distracts you from it. Friends will fade away. Sleep becomes irregular. Comfort disappears because the soul does not grow in comfort. Every part of your old life that depended on weakness will fall apart. The dark night also exposes how much of your strength was based on validation. It burns out the hidden motive to feel superior or prove discipline until only sincerity remains. When that false pride dies, it is replaced by sacred humility, the understanding that you are not mastering life. You are cooperating with it. The mind will try to bargain, whispering that you've gone too far, that you should relax. This is where the test deepens, becoming a test of faith, not in religion, but in the process, then knowing that this descent is not destruction, but transformation. The Mighty's path, every saint, warrior, and mystic faced this silence. Christ in the desert, Buddha under the tree. They all reached a point where logic and philosophy failed, and in that emptiness, they met their truth. Retention simply accelerates this initiation by removing the buffer of pleasure that kept you numb. Once you accept the darkness, it begins to serve you. Anger turns into clarity. Sadness becomes depth. Loneliness transforms into self-connection. You no longer chase validation because you can see through its hollowness. Confidence returns, not the fragile confidence of performance, but the quiet confidence of alignment. This stage can last for months, even years. Do not rush it. It is a metamorphosis. You are not being asked to win. You are being asked to endure, to surrender every layer of falseness. The truth that remains is simple. You were never incomplete. You only believed you were because you lived disconnected from your essence. When you grasp this, you stop needing external light because you have found your own. The chaos turns to rhythm. The loneliness turns to peace. The darkness was love in disguise, a fierce love that breaks everything unreal so that only truth can remain. Emerging from the furnace, those who endure this darkness emerge as men of gravity. Their words carry presence. Their silence commands respect. They walk through chaos without being moved, because they have already died once within their own soul. If you are in that darkness now, understand this. You are not being destroyed. You are being purified. The pain is not a sign that retention is failing. It is proof that it's working. You are shedding illusions faster than your mind can process. The silence you feel is not the end of the path. It is the furnace that turns boys into men. You are being sculpted into someone who cannot be shaken by rejection, temptation, or chaos. The world needs men who can walk through hell and remain calm. When you finally emerge, you realize that the man you were before the dark night no longer exists. You become something else entirely. Real? A man who has met his own darkness and didn't flinch. A man who has seen the abyss and stayed still. You carry a quiet fire in your eyes, the kind of fire that is earned through pain, solitude, and truth. The hidden promise of retention is that it makes you invincible in the face of yourself. If this video charged your internal battery, please show some love. Give this a quick like, and subscribe to make sure you never miss an energy upgrade. If this video gave you real value, tap the thanks button. Your support helps me keep creating deeper content like this. Every thanks is a spark that keeps this mission alive. Your support means more than you know. Once you have mastered that, the world can throw anything at you, and you will remain unmoved. You will know deep within your bones that you have survived the hardest battle there is, the war within your own soul. No more pretending, no more seeking, just being. And that, brother, is what real power feels like. Keep walking. You're being shaped into something the world has forgotten how to create. Don't run from the fire, stay in it. The light you're chasing isn't at the end of the tunnel, it's within you.